I literally thought, like, at one point I thought, am I gonna die?
I have a really serious fascination with retold stories, with taking things that are old, classic, that are often anthologized, and reworking them so that they fit in a modern context. And so when I started working on screenwriting, it was just kind of an easy fit to try the Cask of Amontillado. I'm Katie Boyer. I wrote the script for Garden of the Gods, and I also executive produced the film.
One of the reasons we picked Edgar Allan Poe was because he is... I mean, we read him in high school. We bumped into a couple of his stories in high school, and he made an impression. My name is Kyle Sullivan. I am a filmmaker and YouTuber, and I was the director for Garden of the Gods.
I'm a huge fan of Poe, and I'm a fan of all of the cheesy Poe versions of Poe's films that were made way back.
So there's always a happy marriage, I feel, between literary works and the theatrical performance of it, be it on stage or on screen.
I mean, it really reunited what I thought, Poe as myself and how I like him in certain ways.
And when I read this script, I'm like, okay, I really can't actually say I've heard of this story they're adapting, so I'm like, I'll read it. But then when I got to the end of it, I'm like, okay, well, in case I didn't know it was a Poe story, it's very clear.
Actually, we read it every year in high school, different excerpts, pieces from Poe.
Saw the casting call, and the synopsis was very interesting because normally you'll get these castings for the gangbanger or like the drug dealer, and it's a very minuscule role. But with this, it was very different because it took that and switched it on its head. It like flipped it, And I thought that was very interesting because it was coming from an Edgar Allan Poe adaptation of The Cask of Amontillado, and I love that. I grew up reading that in school. I read that specific one in 6th grade.
I actually was pretty familiar with this piece that we were using as a model. And a lot of that same stuff around that time that he wrote, we really went into debt with some of that stuff in high school and college. And I've always been a big fan. And I was, of course, I got to read the script kind of early, I think, and I was really excited about the choices, especially knowing the original story.
Well, we first had to read it in high school, and I liked it. It was like one of the few things that I really was genuinely interested in.
I do love Edgar Allan Poe, but I don't like slasher films, but I like a psychological horror kind of movie, which Edgar Allan Poe is all that.
But there's something perennial about the guy. He operates in a horror space, but it isn't quite what horror is now. He's in a very, I don't even want to call it traditional. He's in a space all his own. And anytime anyone tries to make a movie or retell Poe, or do any kind of horror where they're accidentally bumping against Poe, you immediately know you're in a Poe category, and you either have to check yourself or go full Poe. And there's just something really unique about the guy and the stories he told and the way he told stories and his own tragic story that just make his stories very compelling.
The story's very dark, man. It's murderous. It's murderous. That's the way it is murderous. So, but it was cool.
What a weird, violent, malicious story. What what a strange way to tell this story, bragging about murdering a dude and never once giving the reason why. And it's just one of those stories, and like, it's 200 years old and people are still coming back to it.
遠い将来を考えてみようよ。